Before you judge this woman, listen first. Amara was a mother of twin boys, smart, handsome, full of life. For 15 years, her family looked perfect from the outside. But the day they went for their Canada medicals, one small DNA test opened a secret she thought would die with her. A secret that could destroy her marriage or save it. And no one in that house was prepared for what the results said.
My name is Patience, and today's story is one that reminds us how fragile a family can be. Sometimes the people we love the most are carrying a weight we never see, until life forces the truth into the light. Let's begin.
Amara liked to wake up before everybody else. Before Lagos traffic started shouting outside, before Kene's alarms sang one old R&B song he refused to change, before the twins, Nonso and Namdi, began their daily argument about who used whose perfume. At 4:45 a.m., the house on Redemption Street was still half asleep. The ceiling fan turned slowly above the bed. The neighbor's generator, which had roared all night, finally went quiet. Somewhere far away, a muezzin's call drifted through the cool air. Amara lay on her side for a moment, just watching Kene. His mouth was slightly open, one hand under his pillow, the other lying across the bed like a man who owned everything he slept on. The early light from the window made the small scar on his chin look softer. She remembered when he got it, years ago, trying to fix a broken door in their first tiny apartment. 17 years of marriage. Sometimes it felt like yesterday. Sometimes it felt like 3 lifetimes. She smiled, then gently pulled his hand off the bedsheet and placed it back beside him. If Kene woke before 5, the whole house would lose its peace. He would start talking, asking questions, making plans, complaining about Nigeria, thanking God for life, all at the same time. Amara slipped out of bed and tied her wrapper. In the kitchen, she lit the gas and put water on the fire for Pop. She opened the back door a little and let the dawn air enter. Somewhere nearby, a rooster tried to remind everyone that he was important. On the counter, the blue plastic folder from the Canadian immigration agents lay where she had left it the night before. She wiped her hand on her wrapper and opened it again. Express Entry Application, Okafor Family. It still felt strange seeing their names like that, printed in another country's font. She flipped through the forms: biometrics appointment slip, medical requirements, list of documents they had already submitted, birth certificates, marriage certificate, school records, bank statements, Kene's work reference from the construction company in Lagos Island. At the bottom of one page, a short sentence made her stop. For some applicants, DNA testing may be requested to confirm biological relationships. She read it again, even though she understood it very well. Kene had laughed when he first saw that line. After all the sleepless nights, school fees, PTA meetings, they still want DNA to know if these boys are my children? He had said, shaking his head. Let them come and see my face and see their faces. Is it not enough? He was joking. Amara had laughed too. But that night, when everyone was asleep, she had woken up and sat quietly on the edge of the bed, staring into the dark. Because for her, that one line did not feel like a joke. The kettle whistled softly. She switched off the gas, poured hot water into the pot of soaked pop, and stirred until it thickened. Today was Monday. The boys had tests. Kene had a site meeting. She had a full day at the salon. Life had to move, whether people were carrying secrets or not. By 6 a.m., the house was awake. Kene's R&B alarm rang 3 times before he finally opened his eyes. Amara, why does morning always come too fast in this country? Because you went to bed late, Jor. Stand up, Jor. Your sons will soon finish all the bread. In the boys' room, chaos already rolled. Nanso was standing in front of the mirror, spraying perfume like he was trying to bless the whole neighborhood. "Namdi, where's my biology note?" he shouted. "Where you left it?" Namdi replied calmly, tying his tie with careful fingers. "You always drop things like you expect angels to arrange them." "A beg shift," Nanso squeezed beside him at the mirror. "Mommy, see this boy now? He carried my new shoe again." Amara leaned on the doorframe, watching them. They were twins, but only by birth certificate. Nanso was louder, always in a hurry, always planning something. His laughter filled rooms. His anger also filled them. He wanted to be a footballer, a businessman, a pilot, depending on the week. Nanso was slower, not in mind, but in movement. He liked to think first, to observe before speaking. He read novels, asked strange questions about the stars, about why people did what they did. Sometimes he would just sit on the balcony and watch the street, quiet and distant. To strangers, they only looked like brothers. To Amara, they were two halves of a story she wished she could change. "Both of you, come and eat before you go and be fainting in school," she called. At the dining table, Kene took his usual place at the head in faded shorts and a company-branded polo shirt. He sniffed the air dramatically. "I smell poverty leaving this table very soon," he announced, tasting the pop and nodding. "Canada is calling us. Cold is calling us. Better life is calling us." Nanso grinned. "Daddy, when we reach there, can I buy PlayStation 6? "Which one is 6 again? Finish SS3 first before you start upgrading." Namdi stirred his pop slowly. "Daddy, will we still come back to Nigeria for Christmas?" he asked. Kene smiled. "Of course, now we will come back and form accent for everybody." He put on a fake Canadian drawl. "Hello, good morning. Please, where can I buy small suya?" Everyone laughed, even Namdi. Amara watched them from the kitchen doorway, a spoon in her hand. In that moment, everything looked perfect. A simple Nigerian family eating breakfast in a small but tidy sitting room with a fan turning lazily overhead and a TV showing silent morning news. If anyone walked in, they would not see anything strange. They would not know that inside this house, one truth had been sleeping for 15 years, wrapped tightly like a baby on its mother's back. The kettle finished his pop and stood up. "Don't forget, our medicals are next week," he said, stretching his arms. "Everybody should rest well so they will not say we are unhealthy. I've already told the site manager I won't be around that day." Nanso raised his hand like a student. "Daddy, are they not just checking blood and eyes and all those things? Why are you afraid?" "I'm not afraid, oh. I just don't like hospitals. When I was small, one nurse nearly broke my arm with injection." Namdi looked at his mother. "Mom, are you scared of hospitals?" he asked. Amara blinked. The spoon almost slipped from her fingers. "No," she said quickly. "It's just, they waste time sometimes. That's all." The boys rushed to pick their bags. Kene grabbed his car keys. In the doorway, the morning sun was already bright, painting the compound wall a soft gold. A neighbor's child ran past with one shoe in her hand and bread in the other. Somewhere a distant Danfo horned in frustration. Kene kissed Amara in the forehead. "Madame Canada, very soon we will leave all this wahala behind." She smiled and nodded. Amen. He and the boys left, the gate creaking as it opened and closed. The compound grew quiet again. Amara went back to the dining table and gathered the cups. She collected one small piece of bread that the boys had left behind and held it in her hand. She looked at the door where they had just disappeared. "My men, she whispered. Then more softly, God, please don't let this journey destroy us. The ceiling fan continued to turn. Outside, the city carried on with its normal Monday morning hustle. Inside, Amara knew that normal life was running on borrowed time.
The hospital smelled of antiseptic and boiled water. On the day of their medicals, the waiting room was full of people, holding brown envelopes and clear folders, all carrying dreams bigger than the thin plastic in their hands. A young couple arguing quietly about missing photocard. An older man in a faded suit holding a file so tight his knuckles looked white. A mother with a toddler asleep on her lap, head heavy against her chest. Kene and the boys sat on blue plastic chairs in the middle row. Nigeria has too many processes, Kene muttered, checking his watch for the third time. If you want to travel, is plenty forms. If you want to stay, is plenty suffering. Nonso was filling out a form with exaggerated seriousness. Dad, what should I write here? Have I had chickenpox, tuberculosis, or any major operation? He read. You had appendix removal in JSS 2, Namdi reminded him. Oh, true, Nonso said. I almost forgot they nearly removed my whole life that time. Namdi sat quietly, taking in the room. He noticed a man in his suit tapping his foot quickly, eyes moving from door to door. A teenage girl holding her mother's hand too tightly. A nurse calling names from a list in a bored voice. Okafor family? Kinney stood up. Yes, we are here. They followed her down a corridor lined with framed health posters. One asked if they had checked their blood pressure this year. Another showed a smiling family wearing bright clothes, under the words, Healthy Home, Happy Home. They were taken to different rooms. Kene went one way, the boys another. Amara was left alone in the small lab where they would take her blood. She sat on the plastic chair and rolled up her sleeve. The lab technician, a young man with tired eyes, strapped a band around her arm. Madame, just small prick, don't worry. Amara nodded. She was not worried about the needle. She watched the dark red stream flow into the small tube, then another, then another. Is this not too much? She asked quietly. Embassy tests, they like to check everything, he replied. When he finished, he placed cotton wool on the spot and taped it down. Please, madame, sign here, he said, pointing to a form. She leaned forward. At the top, she saw her full name, Amara Nneka Okafor. Under it, there were small boxes for consent. Consent for HIV test, consent for hepatitis, consent for pregnancy test, consent for additional genetic verification if required. Her pen hovered over that line. Sorry, she asked, trying to keep her voice light. What is genetic verification? The technician didn't look up from his work. Sometimes they do DNA, ma, especially for families traveling together. It's not all cases, but immigration can request it. Don't worry, they will explain if it is needed. He pushed the form a little closer. Just sign all, it's standard. Amara swallowed and signed. Later, when they all met again outside, Kene stretched his arm like a man who had survived battle. Those injections were not friendly, he complained. If Canada does not give us visa after this pain, I will personally write letter. Nonso laughed. Daddy, see as you are behaving. Me, I didn't even feel anything. Because your blood did not pay tax yet, Kene replied. Nnamdi glanced at his mother. Mom, are you okay? He asked. Amara forced a smile. I'm fine, just tired. As they walked to the car, the hot Lagos sun wrapped them in its usual heavy blanket. Hawkers moved between cars, holding drinks against their heads. A bus conductor shouted destinations like he was singing a strange song. The hospital behind them looked normal. Only Amara felt something had been left there. A small seed dropped in the soil of their future. 2 weeks later, the call came. Kene was in the sitting room, watching a football match with the volume too loud. Nonso and Namdi were arguing in their room about which of them would get the bigger wardrobe when they reached Canada. Amara was in the kitchen, rinsing plates, when her phone vibrated. Good afternoon, ma.
"This is from Mercy Heights Hospital," a woman's voice said. Amara wiped her wet hand on her wrapper. "Yes, good afternoon. We received your family's medical results. Everything is fine, but the embassy requested additional verification. They have asked us to conduct DNA testing to confirm biological relationships between the listed parents and children." For a moment, Amara thought the network had cut. The kitchen went silent. Only the tap was still running. "Hello, Ma? Are you there?" the voice asked. "Yes," Amara said slowly. "Sorry, you said DNA?" "Yes, Ma. It is standard in some cases. We just need you, your husband, and the 2 boys to come in next week. It is a simple procedure, mouth swab only. No injection." Mouth swab. Simple procedure. The words floated around her like feathers, but each one landed with the weight of a stone. When do we have to come?" Amara asked. The woman gave her a date and time. She wrote it down with a pen that almost slipped from her fingers. When she ended the call, she turned off the tap and leaned on the counter. The kitchen tiles felt cold against her back. "Amara," Kenny shouted from the sitting room. "They just scored, oh! Come and see this goal." She swallowed. "I'm coming," she called back. But she did not move. Her eyes went to the top shelf, where she had kept the blue folder, where she had hidden an old envelope between recipe books. The secret she had prayed would sleep forever had just received a wake-up call.
That night, when the house finally went quiet, Amara stayed awake. Kenneth snored softly beside her, one arm thrown over his face. From the boy's room came the faint sound of Nonso talking in his sleep. Nnamdi, as always, slept like a question mark, curled near the wall. The fan hummed overhead. Amara stared at the ceiling and let her mind go back to a different ceiling, in a different room, in a different life. Before the twins. Before Canada. Before Kene became Daddy Nonso and Nnamdi. They had married young. She was 21, fresh from hairdressing school. He was 25, working as a site supervisor. Their first apartment had cracked tiles and a toilet that flushed only when it felt like it. But they were in love. They believed love could patch every crack. For the first year, everything was sweet. They went to evening fellowships together. They shared one small pot of soup for 3 days. They laughed at their own poverty. Very soon, Kene used to say, "This our house will be story we tell our children when we are rich." But life did not move as fast as their dreams. Money took longer to come. Pregnancy took even longer. After 3 years, Auntie started asking questions with small smiles that didn't reach their eyes. "Amara, how is your body?" "Kene, are you people waiting on the Lord or you are just enjoying honeymoon?" Doctors said everything looked normal. Church members said they should just keep believing. Kene said they should not worry, their time would come. But inside, Amara carried a quiet shame. Every month when blood came instead of a baby, she would sit on the toilet lid and cry silently, tissue pressed to her mouth so nobody would hear. Then Kene got a job in Port Harcourt. "It's just for 1 year," he told her. "Better pay, better position. I'll come home as often as I can. After that, we'll be more comfortable. It's for us." She believed him. At first, he came every 2 weeks. Then every month. Then once in 2 months. Phone calls became shorter. He sounded tired, distracted, always in a hurry. "Work is crazy," he kept saying. "These oil people, they don't rest." She tried not to complain. One rainy Friday evening, when the power had gone again and the room was too silent, her old friend Chima came to visit. Chima had been her neighbor back in their parents' compound in Onitsha. He now worked as an electrician in Lagos. He had always been the kind of man who laughed from his belly, who knew how to tell stories that made people forget their problems. "Amara Neka," he shouted from the doorway, shaking off rainwater. "See you, fine woman. Lagos is hiding you, oh."
She laughed properly for the first time in weeks. He helped her fix a broken socket, then stayed to eat. They talked about childhood days, about how her mother used to chase them with slippers when they plucked mangoes without permission. They talked about Kenny's new job, about how rents were rising faster than people's salaries. The rain did not stop. The night felt longer than usual. One story turned into another. One cup of tea turned into two. One innocent handshake turned into a hug that lasted too long. Later, when she tried to remember how it happened, Amara always got stuck in one small moment. The moment when she could have said, "No, Chima, go home." The moment she did not. It happened only once. Afterwards, she cried, shame burning her skin like hot pepper. Chima sat on the edge of the bed, head in his hands. "I'm sorry," he kept saying. "I'm so sorry." She told him to leave and never come back. He left. She spent the night on the floor, clutching her Bible like it was a life jacket. The next week, Kene called. "Baby, I'm so sorry. Work has been mad. I'll come home next weekend, I promise." When he came, he brought a new dress for her, blue with small white flowers. "You know you are still the most beautiful woman I know," he said, kissing her forehead. She cried that night too, but for a different reason. Months later, when she missed her period, she was almost too afraid to be happy. The pregnancy test showed 2 clear lines. The doctor confirmed it. "You are carrying twins," he said, smiling. She wanted to scream. Joy, fear, relief, panic, everything mixed together. She counted back the weeks. The dates overlapped. It was possible, just possible, that one of the babies came from that rainy night. She did not tell anyone. Not her mother, not her pastor, not even God in words. She decided to bury that idea in the deepest place inside her and cover it with prayer. "Lord," she whispered many nights, hands on her growing belly, "forgive me for my weakness, but please, let these children be Kenes. Let my mistake die quietly. I will serve you with my whole life. Just please, cover me." When the twins were born, both boys, both small and angry at the world, no one asked questions. They both looked like her at first, with tiny noses and big eyes. As they grew, people said they had Kenne's smile. They had his walk. They had his stubbornness. Amara allowed their words to become her truth. She poured herself into motherhood. Night feeds, school runs, PTA meetings, homework, cough syrup, immunization cards. The rainy night became a closed door in her mind. She never opened it. Until the day a hospital called and used 3 letters. DNA. Now, lying on her bed in Lagos all these years later, Amara felt that closed door shaking. Kenny turned in his sleep and placed his hand on her waist. Canada," he mumbled, still half dreaming. "We are coming." A small tear slipped from the corner of her eye onto the pillow. "Lord," she whispered into the dark, "I thought this past was finished. Please, show me what to do."
The week before the DNA appointment, the house changed in small ways. Kenny did not notice. The twins did not notice. But Amara did. She noticed how her hands trembled slightly when she packed their lunch boxes, how she squeezed their shoulders a bit too tight when they were leaving for school. Nonso thought she was just being emotional about the move. "Mummy, you will survive without us, so," he joked. "When we reach Canada, I will send you snow inside nylon." Namdi watched her quietly. One evening, he followed her to the kitchen while she was frying plantain. "Mom," he said, leaning on the counter, "do you really want to go to Canada?" The question surprised her. Most times, He asked questions about stars, not about life decisions. "Of course," she said. "Don't you want a better life? Better schools? Light that doesn't go off in the middle of assignment?" He shrugged. "It will be good," he said. "But sometimes it feels like we are rushing away from something or towards something we don't understand." Amara turned to the plantain, watching the oil bubble. "You think too much," she told him gently. "Eat your food first, then think." He smiled a little and went back to the sitting room. That night, she couldn't sleep again. Secrets are heavy. They don't like to sit in one person's chest for too long. By Wednesday, she knew she needed to talk to someone. She went to see her elder sister, Ngozi, who lived in a small but well-kept flat 2 streets away. Ngozi was the kind of woman who always smelled of shea butter and roasted groundnut. She raised 3 children almost on her own after her husband left, and somehow still had the strength to help everybody else. In her sitting room, a Nollywood movie played softly in the background. Ngozi switched down the volume when she saw Amara's face. "What is it?" she asked. "You look like somebody carrying 2 bags on one shoulder." Amara sat down slowly. She told her everything. About the rainy night, about Chima, about the twins, about the hospital call. She spoke in a low voice, stopping often as if shame were a hand on her throat. Ngozi listened without interrupting. When Amara finished, her eyes were red. "I know I sinned, and I repented. I thought God had wiped it away, but now, this DNA thing, what if?" Ngozi sighed deeply and leaned back. "Young people," she said softly, "you think God is broom that just sweeps away consequences. He forgives sin, yes, but sometimes the fruits still grow." She was quiet for a moment. "Have you told Kenny?" Amara shook her head quickly. "How can I?" she whispered. "He will hate me. He will send me away. He loves those boys too much. He will never forgive me." Ngozi looked at Amara with tired, loving eyes. "Amara, you cannot build Canada on top of a lie. Whether you like it or not, this truth is coming. You have 2 choices. Either it comes with your voice or with a paper from a lab." The words fell heavy between them. Tears slipped down Amara's cheeks. "I'm afraid," she said. "Of course you are. But you are also strong. You have carried this thing alone for 15 years. It's time to share the weight." She reached for Amara's hand. "Talk to your husband before the hospital does." The day before the DNA appointment, rain finally came to Lagos after weeks of dusty heat. It wasn't heavy at first, just a slow, gentle rain that made the air smell of wet sand and leaves. People on the street lifted their faces as if catching blessings. Amara watched the drops run down the window pane. Inside her, a different storm was building. Kene was at the dining table, counting money from a small, brown envelope. "We need to clear school fees before we travel. I don't want them to be calling us from here when we are already in cold." The twins were in their room, pretending to read, but mostly scrolling on their phones. Amara dried her hands on a towel and walked slowly to the dining area. "Kene," she said quietly, "can we talk inside the room?" He looked up, surprised. "Serious talk?" he asked. "Yes." He frowned a little. "Did the embassy send email again?" he asked, standing up. "Not yet," she said. "Please, let's go inside." In the bedroom, she closed the door and leaned against it for a second. Kene sat on the edge of the bed, watching her. "What is it? You're making me nervous." Amara's heart pounded so loudly she thought he might hear it. For a moment, she wanted to run, to say it was nothing, to laugh and change the topic. But Ngozi's words echoed in her mind. Either it comes with your voice or with a paper from a lab. She took a deep breath. There is something I need to tell you. Something from long ago, before the twins were born. Kenne's eyes narrowed slightly. Okay, he said slowly. I'm listening. Her voice shook as she spoke. She told him about the loneliness when he was in Port Harcourt, about the rain, about Chima, about the one night she had never been able to forget, even when she pretended she had. She did not decorate it. She did not hide behind excuses. She just told the truth. When she finished, the room felt smaller. Kenne sat very still. The only sound was the rain tapping softly on the window pane. You're telling me, he said at last, his voice calm in a way that scared her, that when you got pregnant with my sons, you were not sure if I was the only one? Tears ran freely down her cheeks. I begged God to forgive me. I promised him I would never tell, that I would live right. I have tried to be a good wife, a good mother. I thought maybe he would just cover it. Kenny stood up and walked to the window. He looked out for a long time. The rain was falling harder now. Does this have anything to do with the DNA they want to do tomorrow? He asked without turning. Amara nodded her head, even though he couldn't see. Yes, I'm afraid, she said. What if they find out that you are not the father of one of them? The words felt like knives in her mouth. Kenny turned slowly. His face was not angry. It was something worse, hurt and tired. So for 15 years, you allowed me to carry another man's child as my own, without telling me that there was a chance. She took a step forward. Kenny, please. He lifted a hand. Don't come close, he said softly. Just answer me. Do you know which one? Amara shook her head, sobbing. No, I don't. And I never wanted to know. I just chose to believe they were both yours. I buried the past. I tried to be the best mother I could. He laughed once, but there was no joy in it. Buried? You did not bury it. You planted it. Now it has grown and we are all standing under the tree. Silence filled the room. Finally, he sat back down on the bed, elbows on his knees, his head in his hands. Why didn't you tell me then? He asked, his voice breaking a little. I was your husband. We could have faced it together. Because I was afraid you would leave me, and I didn't want to lose you. I didn't want to lose the chance to have a family with you. He closed his eyes. For a long time, neither of them spoke. Outside, a thunderclap rolled across the sky. At last, Kenny stood up. I need time, he said quietly, to think, to breathe, to understand this new world you have dropped me into. He walked past her and opened the door. Amara reached out, but her arm fell back to her side. Kenny, will you still go for the test? She asked in a small voice. He paused in the doorway. Tomorrow I will go, he said. I want to see what truth looks like on paper. Then he left the room. The DNA appointment felt like a funeral. Nobody dressed in black, but the mood carried grief. In the car, Kenny drove in silence. Nonso tried to lighten the atmosphere. Maybe after the test we can buy ice cream, he said. I heard this hospital has one small shop with meat pie that is almost good. No one answered. Namdi watched his parents from the back seat. He could feel something hanging in the air between them, something heavy and unspoken. At the hospital, they took turns.
A nurse rubbed a small cotton swab inside each of their cheeks. It was over in minutes. "So this is what immigration uses to know if I am my father's son?" Nonso joked. "Very small stick." Kene tried to smile, but his face didn't quite manage it. The nurse told them the results would be ready in about a week. On the drive home, Nonso put in his earphones and stared out the window, lost in music. Namdi looked from his father's hands gripping the steering wheel to his mother's clenched jaw. He felt like someone had changed the channel of their lives without telling him. The week moved slowly. Kene slept in the boys' room for 2 nights, claiming he wanted to give his back a new bed. He went to work early and came back late. He ate quietly and watched TV with his arms folded. Amara tried to give him space. She also tried not to break in front of the children. One afternoon, as she was braiding a customer's hair at the salon, her phone rang. She saw the hospital name on the screen. Her heart dropped. She wiped her hands and answered. "Good afternoon, Ma," the voice said. "Your DNA results are ready. Would you like to come and collect them, or should your husband come instead?" Amara swallowed. "I'll come," she said. She did not tell Kene immediately. She waited until he came home that evening, his shirt damp with sweat and dust. "There was a call from the hospital," she said softly when he entered the bedroom to change. He froze. "When?" he asked. "This afternoon. The results are ready." He looked at her for a long second. "Tomorrow," he said. "We'll go together." The next day, they left the twins at home on the excuse of hospital protocol. In the waiting room, the same nurse from last time smiled politely. "Mr. and Mrs. Okafor, please come," she said, leading them to a small office with a desk, 3 chairs, and a computer. A doctor sat behind the desk, glasses perched low on his nose. "Good morning," he greeted. "Please, sit." He shuffled some papers, then pulled out a white envelope with their names on it. "We ran the tests you requested. Everything was done carefully. Would you like me to explain the results, or will you read them yourselves?" Kene's lace was steady. "Explain," he said. The doctor opened the envelope and took out the papers. He laid them on the table and pointed. "For your first son, Nanso, this is the paternity probability between him and Mr. Okafor. As you can see, it is 99.99%. This confirms that he is biologically Mr. Okafor's child." Kene nodded slightly. Amara stared at the lines, but her eyes felt too full of water to read. "For your second son, Namdi," the doctor continued. He paused briefly, then went on. "The result shows 0.00% probability. This means Mr. Okafor is not his biological father." The room went very quiet. The air conditioner hummed softly. Somewhere outside, a baby cried. Kene's jaw tightened. Amara closed her eyes. "Doctor, are you sure?" Kene asked. "Yes," the doctor said gently. "We ran the test twice to be certain. There is no match between you and the second child. For the first, everything is clear." Amara's tears slipped down her cheeks. Kene stood up slowly. "Thank you," he said, voice tight. "Can we have the documents?" The doctor put the papers back in the envelope and handed it to him. "If you need counseling or someone to speak to, we can refer you. These things can be difficult for families." Kene nodded once. He and Amara left without another word. In the car, he sat for a while, hands on the steering wheel, eyes staring at nothing. Amara held the envelope in her lap like it was a bomb. "Kene," she began. He exhaled sharply. "I just want to go home first. We will talk later." At home, Nanso and Namdi were in the sitting room watching a movie. "How was it?" Nanso asked. "Did they give you injection again?" Kene forced a small smile. "No injection this time. Where is your mother's water? She needs to drink." He went to the bedroom and closed the door. Amara followed. Inside, he sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the envelope. "So, it's true," he said quietly. "The paper has spoken." Amara sat beside him, leaving a small space between them. "Kene, I am sorry," she whispered. "I don't know what else to say." He rubbed his face with both hands. "Does Namdi know?" he asked. "No," she said quickly. "Nobody knows. Only you, me, and Ngozi." He nodded slowly. They sat in silence for a long time. At last he spoke. "What about the other man?" he asked, voice low. "The one from that night. Do you know where he is?" Amara's heart skipped. Why? She asked, alarmed. Because there are 3 fathers in this story now. God, me, and him. We need to decide what we are doing with this boy's life together.
Finding Chima was not easy. Lagos is big and memories are small. But one electrician knew another, who knew another, who knew a man that had once worked with the Chima from Onitsha. After a week of asking and calling, Kene got a phone number. He did not tell Amara the first day. He sat on the balcony at night, looking at the blinking lights of the distant expressway, and dialed. "Hello," a man's voice answered. "Good evening," Kene said. "Please, is this Chima, who used to live in Ajagule and now has an electrical shop in Aja?" The man laughed softly. "I have lived in many places, my brother," he said. "But yes, this is Chima. Who is this?" Kene took a breath. "My name is Kenechukwu Okafor," he said. "I think we need to talk. It's about something that happened many years ago and about a boy who might be your son." There was silence on the line. Then Chima's voice came back, shaken. "Where can we meet?" he asked. They met in a quiet church compound on a Saturday afternoon. The sky was bright but not harsh, clouds hanging like soft cloth above the city. Chima arrived in a simple shirt and jeans, face older than Amara remembered, but eyes still holding that familiar mix of laughter and worry. Kene greeted him stiffly. "Thank you for coming," he said. They sat on a bench under a tree. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then Kene began. He told Chima everything, without shouting, without insults, just facts. About the night with Amara, about the twins, about the DNA test, about Nnamdi. Chima listened, his hands clasped so tightly together, his knuckles turned white. When Kene finished, the older man let out a long breath. "I always wondered what happened to Amara," he said quietly. "After that night, I felt so ashamed. I tried to come and apologize properly, but she refused to see me. I moved away. I got married. I tried to forget the life I could not hold." He rubbed his face. "A boy," he murmured. 15 years, and I didn't know?" Kene watched him carefully. "I called you here because I needed to look you in the eye and to ask you a question. What do you want?" "What do I want?" he repeated. "Yes," Kene said, "because this is not one of those Nigerian films where men fight in the street over children. This is a real boy, a real family, and already there is enough damage." He paused. "I have raised Nnamdi from birth. I changed his diapers. I took him to hospital when he had malaria. I know the way he frowns when he is thinking. I know he hates too much pepper. I know he laughs from his nose first before his mouth. He is my son in every way I understand." His voice shook a little. "But paper says he also belongs to you. So I need to know, does that paper wake anything in your heart? Or do you just want to know and move on?" Chima's eyes were wet now. "I am not a perfect man," he said slowly. "I have made mistakes, too many. When my first wife left with our daughter, it broke something in me. I told myself I was not meant for fatherhood. I threw myself into work. I tried to forget the life I could not hold." He looked up. "Hearing this today, it is like God is telling me, you are given a chance and you dropped it without even knowing." He wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. "I would like to know him," he said softly.
not to break your home, not to claim what is not mine to carry, just to know him, to see his face, to be there if he ever needs another man to talk to. Kene studied him for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. I can work with that. They talked more. They agreed there would be no sudden dramatic declarations, no storms, no shouting of, "I am your real father," in front of the boy. Instead, Chima would enter Nnamdi's life slowly, as Uncle Chima, a family friend. Whether deeper truth would come later would depend on many things: the boy's age, his emotional strength, the readiness of the whole family. That evening, Kene went home and sat Amara down. He told her everything that had been said. Amara listened, hands clasped together. "Will you tell the boys?" she asked softly. "Not now. Especially not in the middle of this Canada process. Their minds are already full. We will begin with healing first, then truth when the time is right." She nodded, tears on her lashes. "Kene, why are you being so kind? You have every right to hate me, to hate him, to send us away." He looked at her for a long moment. Then he exhaled. "Amara, I was angry. I am still angry in some places inside me, but anger will not raise these boys. What happened 15 years ago cannot be undone. What we do from today, that is what will matter in 20 years. He took her hand. "I have decided," he said quietly. "DNA can tell me whose blood is in his veins, but it cannot tell me who will stand beside him when life becomes hard. I choose to be that man, for both of them." The words broke something open in her. She wept, not the small, careful tears she had cried before, but deep, grateful tears. "Kene, thank you. I don't deserve this kind of mercy." He squeezed her hand. "None of us deserve the mercy we receive," he said simply. "That is why it is called mercy." Over the next weeks, small changes began. Uncle Chima visited the house one Sunday afternoon, carrying a bag full of wires and small gadgets. "He had you like to open electronics," he told Nnamdi with a shy smile. "Maybe one day you will come to my workshop and help me repair some things." Nnamdi laughed. He liked this new uncle with gentle eyes and rough hands. Amara watched them from the kitchen window, heart full and aching at the same time. Nonso, of course, quickly claimed Chima as his own too. "Uncle, if you have any old TV you are not using, please remember your favorite nephew," he joked. Life did not suddenly become perfect. There were still moments when Kene's eyes went distant, times when Amara woke shaking from old guilt, days when Nnamdi seemed to sense something under the surface and asked quiet questions that nobody could fully answer yet. But there was movement. There was honesty now, slowly growing where secrecy used to live. When the Canadian visa finally came a month later, they gathered in the sitting room to open the email on Kene's small laptop. "Approved," the screen said. The boys jumped and shouted. "Mommy, we did it!" Nonso yelled, lifting her off her feet. Nnamdi hugged Kene tightly. Kene laughed, genuine joy lighting his face. Amara watched them, heart beating fast. Later that night, when everyone had calmed down, she sat on the balcony with Kene. The city stretched around them, blinking and noisy. "So," he said quietly, "are you ready to carry all of us, our history, our mistakes,
Our love to a new country. She nodded. As long as we are carrying
Truth too, she replied. He smiled. That's one we cannot leave behind again, he said. She looked up at the sky. The stars were faint because of city lights, but she knew they were there. Do you think God is still with us? She asked softly. Kenneth followed her gaze. If he was not, he said, we would not be here, planning a future, instead of standing over a broken home. He took her hand, their fingers fitting together like a very old, very familiar puzzle. Down the hallway, the boys were arguing about who would sit by the window on the claim. Somewhere in Aja, Chima locked his shop and whispered a small prayer for a boy who did not yet know the full story of his own blood. And in that Lagos night, one family, imperfect but honest, began again. Not because their past disappeared, but because they chose to face it together. Sometimes, the biggest miracles are not the visas stamped in our passports, but the forgiveness that quietly rewrites our stories and reminds us that blood can start a family, but love is what keeps it standing. Thank you for watching this story. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more.